Okay, so what exactly happened on February 28th, 1993 in Waco, Texas?
Well, as you can see, it all started on a Sunday morning in Waco, Texas, when agents of the ATF had infiltrated the Davidian branch compound. What started out as a search warrant on suspicion of compiled weapons ultimately resulted in one of the worst and tragic events in U.S. history. Approximately 100 men, women, and children suffered carnage at the hands of the government, which was under Bill Clinton's administration. The raid, without a doubt, cannot be justified and therefore shouldn't have ever occurred.
Okay, next question. What did the leader, David Koresh, do to protect his people during the attacks?
David Koresh, being the undeniably non-violent individual that he was, had done his best to deter the Davidians' attention from the siege-like tactics from the ATF. Originally, he instructed that his fellow people would do their best to follow their daily routines, if that proved to be possible. But since the ATF had not indicated any attempt to stop, they continued to bombard the compound with bombs, such as tear gas bombs and other stuff. Although the Davidians put on masks and other stuff, they tried to defend themselves by going about their business. Fires sprang up that engulfed the building, while David Koresh continued to try to help his people by instructing them to go to interior buildings.
Okay, next question. Were you aware of the harboring of illegal weapons and explosive and the acts of child abuse?
It is from my understanding that not a single individual, including David Koresh, had been charged with any crime prior to the raid. And nonetheless, it has been reported that David Koresh had carried out harsh disciplinary action towards some of his children that he looked after, but there was no indication of any abuse. And so that should be a false accusation. Had any of the Davidians been charged with the slightest bit of a misdemeanor, then maybe the U.S. government might have had something to justify their means of speculating, but other than that, that was not the reason, and the government had no authority in doing so.
Okay. Why did the Davidians hold off for such a long period of time, 51 days?
Well, that's a difficult and good question, you see. The Branch Davidians seemed to endure the long siege because they knew of a man that went by Paul Feta, and he was a federal firearms license dealer. And since the group operated a retail gun business called the Mag Bag, they were able to receive shipments for weapons. See, as I contradict myself, and that's probably why they survived so long. They shot back. So, yeah.
Okay, last question. Do you think the raid was justified? If so, under what circumstances?
The raid on the Branch Davidians cannot be justified under any means because it was a senseless and heartless thing to do to those people.
So what exactly happened on February 28th, 1993 in Waco, Texas?
On this day, we were investigating David Koresh previously in the Branch Davidians for many crimes suspected from this religious group or cult, but some of these include child abuse, storing high-powered weapons such as rifles and explosives illegally. This led for a warrant to be placed for the self-proclaimed prophet David Koresh of the Branch Davidians and other Davidian members. Although this arrest didn't go exactly as planned, gunfire broke out which eventually led to deaths from both Branch Davidians and the ATF. We were simply there just to make an arrest and no other controversy.
Next question. Why was your first move to fire shots at the Branch Davidian compound?
Although this is a very highly debated topic, our men from the ATF testified that the first shots were not fired from our men, but in fact were fired from the Branch Davidians. That being said, though, we took necessary action from the position that we were in, As we were only trying to make some simple arrests, this turned to a much greater ordeal that was handled well by our officers, we believe.
Okay, did you, the federal agents, find what you were looking for in the compound?
Actually, yes, we did. One of Branch Davidian's, Paul Feda, was a federal firearms license dealer, and the group operated a retail gun business called the Mag Bag, which shipments for the Mag Bag arrived. They were signed for either Feda, Steve Schneider, or Koresh. Having this easy access gun control, had us believe that they had many illegally stored weapons, and as we seen from the first raid, we were shot back with heavy fire, and we do believe that they still have, they did have, high-powered weapons and explosives.
Okay, next question. Did President Bill Clinton or Attorney General Janet Reno approve of the use of tear gas and or the siege on the Branch Davidians?
Yes, Janet Reno did, in fact, uh, uh, she did assure the tear gas plan, as Clinton did later on say that it was her call from the start. But Reno has cited a number of factors to explain why she went through with this tear gas plan. She said that she had concluded that the negotiations with the Branch Davidians were indefinitely deadlocked, that the FBI's hostage rescue team on duty at Waco was becoming fatigued, that the perimeter established by the FBI around the compound was engaged, and that the children inside the compound were at risk. Because of deteriorating sanitary conditions and the potential for sexual and physical abuse. Seeing this, that the Reno gave only a cursory reading of the 3-inch thick operation plan and backup document about the CS gas provided by the FBI 2 days before the assault on the compound.
All right, last question. Did you think the raid was justified? If so, under what circumstances?
Although there were many deaths involved in the situation, which is never a good thing for our government agents acted as they should, and I can assure you that all of them are well trained and they are completely prepared for these types of situations. Of course, this case is very controversial, but that being said, we work to the best of our abilities to ensure that the job gets done. This job did not go exactly as planned, of course, but we only played the cards we were dealt with. So yes, I believe it was justified, and that's about it.